No silly gimmicks with this one. EOTECH Vudu 3.5-18. Standard version, not their short compact version. There you go. There you have it. I purchased this used, as you could tell from the outside of the box, and I feel I got a pretty good deal for it. Now, I'm not going to go too crazy with this unboxing. There's everything you're going to need to know, and that's basically it. The box is pretty nice. Good heavy-duty cardboard. It's seen some mileage, but it's not terrible. Got some nice little locks right here. Open those up. Top viola. Nice piece of foam on top. Then we have the actual scope book and the reticle book. This is actually my first time with the Horus H59 reticle. I'm genuinely excited. Now, I paid around $1,100 for this, I believe, or around $1,000, something like that. And I felt that was a pretty good price, all things considered, because this thing brand new is around $1,900 to $2,000, and that's a lot of money. But you also got to think this should be on par, on paper, spec-wise, with the Razer HD Gen 2. And this is a little bit more money, so how does it stack up against that? That's the competitor for this scope. Anyway, I'm not going to go through every single thing. I'm not going to compare this too much. I just want to give you a real quick rundown of everything before we get behind it and start looking at it. This is really cool. We're going to talk about that soon. And I do not have the cattail. The old owner lost it and could not find it. That's probably why I got such a good deal. Anyway, here we are. Sunshade and a little microfiber cleaning cloth there. Plastic that the scope came in, and the scope itself. So a real quick overview of this is going to be quite interesting. Starting at the back, you have a fast focus eyepiece, which is nice. Has good resistance, and it's very smooth. No problems there, and no wiggle. But for many of you that aren't familiar with the style of magnification ring, what do you notice? It's all one part. So this way, when you change the magnification, you are also changing the position of your diopter in the back. It's not going to change the settings that it's on, but if you're running a scope cap on this, every time you go to change the magnification, it's going to turn, and it might turn this. I know why they do this, or at least I know why Nightforce does this. They claim that there's less moving parts and there's less points of egress for moisture to get inside the seals, which I completely understand. But keep in mind, if you want to use this with rings, you're going to have a problem. Other than that, it's extremely smooth and easy to turn. I wish I had the cattail, but c'est la vie. 180 degrees, which is standard, and that's basically it. Another thing about this that I really am torn on, and I already don't like the idea of, is the illumination is controlled with a power button, and then an up and a down button. I've already futzed around with this a little bit, and I can already say that I don't like this. The buttons are not that easy to push, and they don't have a lot of captive feedbacks. This way, you don't know if you're actually hitting it or not. There's a small detent on that one that you might be able to hear, and that's it. Not a huge fan. Runs a standard CR2032 battery. Parallax, on the other hand, I really like because it goes all the way down to 15 yards. However, look at how short this sweep is. Yeah, it might be quick to get you there, but you're talking about 180 degrees worth of adjustability, and I have a funny feeling this might be a little bit difficult for getting a real finite, precise parallax setting on target, but we'll see if that holds true soon enough. Turrets are in mil. There are 10 mils per rotation. Fantastic. If I can get this to focus, it'll be even better. A little bit of play side to side. Really nice audible click and a really good feel. There isn't too much resistance to this. It's not too tight. It's not too loose. You know exactly where it's going to be. One really nice feature I like about these, pull off this cap, then you pull off the cap entirely. And you can see the internals in here, and they look nice and beefy. Here is your zero adjustment right there. Nice big O-ring down there for a seal. And look at the spline job on that rope. Beautiful. However, because they're super fine, you got to make sure you line this up perfectly before engaging it down. Because if you try to force this, what's going to happen is you're going to mess it up. But it does line up basically perfect. The windage knob is the exact same setup. I'm not going to take it off and show you that because it's redundant, but same exact turret on the elevation as well. And it does have that little bit of play in there, but it's not too terrible. Turrets feel absolutely awesome. I'm really curious to see how well these track, because if they track well, these are going to be some of my favorite. I can feel that. One nice thing, or at least the last nice thing I should say, made in Japan. So far this thing seems pretty nice, but it also has some weird quirks like that and this. But enough talking. Let's get behind this and actually see what it looks like. So here we are checking out the EOTECH Vudu 3.5-18 with the H59 reticle. Here at 3.5x, there's not much to really say. The only thing you can say is just how far the drops go on this reticle. It goes basically all the way down to the bottom, which I don't ever see how you'd ever really need to use that. I mean, even if you were trying to hold over for drops even at great distances, how do you even know what line you're holding on? Because they're just really small. At 18x though, I can see why people say this is a really good magnification range for this reticle, because at maximum magnification, it looks pretty good. I really like the center dot, and I like how it has the ranging aspect of it on top. Despite the fact there's a lot going on with this reticle, I think EOTECH pulled it off as well as they could to make it contain a lot of information, but not be so busy. As far as the illumination, however, there's your maximum brightness. It is atrocious and completely useless. And yes, this is a brand new battery. This scope is certainly not without its quirks, and it definitely has some things that so far don't seem very promising. I also don't care for how much of the scope body you can see. A little bit of chromatic aberration at the bottom, and the image looks well enough, I suppose. I'm still curious to see how well it's going to perform, but at around $2,000, this is going to be a hard sell. And with that, that's going to conclude this unboxing. Thank you very much for watching. See you again next time. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you, this wouldn't be possible.